Okay. Sex trafficking within the U.S. is legally defined as commercial sex acts induced by force, fraud, or coercion, or commercial sex acts in which the individual induced to perform commercial sex has not attained 18 years of age. Estimated around the world, there are 3 million people enslaved today. This is more than double the number of Africans enslaved during the transatlantic slave trade, making it a $32 billion industry in the world. The most common form of human trafficking is sexual exploitation, making 79% of the overall industry. It is estimated that 2 children are sold every minute. The number of children trafficked annually is around 1.2 million. So sex trafficking in the U.S. A pimp can make somewhere between $150,000 to $200,000 each year, and the average pimp has around 4 to 6 girls. This makes it a $9.5 billion industry in the United States. It is said that 1/3 of all It is said that 1/3 of teens on the street will be lured into prostitution within 48 hours of leaving the home. In Georgia, Atlanta is the number 3 city in the United States with the highest incidence of child sexual exploitation. 200 to 500 underage girls are raped for profit in Georgia each month. 7,200 men purchase underage girls for sex each month in Atlanta. 42% of these men come from the upper north side of Atlanta, right outside the perimeter of 285. With approximately 3 million men in Atlanta, or in Georgia, 23% have purchased sex with females. 20,700 do so in any given month. The average girl in Atlanta forced into prostitution is ages between 11 to 14 years of age. And after entering into the industry, her life expectancy afterwards is only 7 years. This is due to overdose, STDs, suicide, and homicide. 90% of runaways end up in prostitution. So 90% of the girls that leave their homes and run away, within that 48 hours, they're lured into prostitution, and 90% of them end up going into prostitution. Girls can be sold on average around 15 times per night. This is 6 days a week, totaling between 9,360 to 14,400 sex acts within a given year. Sex trafficking has been found in a wide variety of venues in Georgia, including residential brothels, hostess clubs, online escort services, fake massage businesses, strip clubs, and street prostitution. Sex traffickers frequently will target vulnerable people with histories of abuse, and then they'll use violence and threats and false promises as a form of control and manipulation to keep victims involved in the industry. The abuse is usually physical, or it can be sexual abuse, often in the form of repeated rapes by one or more people to create submission. And then the fraud is usually this idea of a better life. A lot of times, traffickers or pimps will basically present themselves to girls as being caretakers or boyfriends, and will promise them a better life and promise them, just like all these false promises to keep them in the industry. Another form of abuse is definitely the idea of stringing girls on drugs and making them dependent upon them as a form of control over these girls. Girls are also very much trained, um, if being arrested on the street for prostitution, to basically deny the pimp. Because a lot of times the pimp will be the one that will come and bail them out afterwards, and so they'll deny that there is a pimp, and then go right back into the process and back into the industry.